We gather today in resounding support for prominent American Muslim civil rights attorney Mr. Asim Ghafoor, whom United Arab Emirates authorities have detained since July 14th. Asim has not been able to meet with his attorneys or have any contact with his family in the United States. He has also not been able to meet with the consulate since July 18th, as he was reportedly to have contracted COVID and was put into isolation. Yesterday, we learned that there was complication regarding the COVID condition and that he has visited the emergency room for dehydration. Asim's father was a pioneer of American Muslim organizations. When his father died in a 1980 Saudi airline crash, Asim became a son of the community. As he grew older, Asim was immediately involved in politics, and right out of University of Texas Law School, he worked for Congressman Ciro Rodriguez right on Capitol Hill. As one of the first two Muslims on the Hill, Asim quickly rose through the ranks and became the Congressman acting chief of staff. While on the Hill, Asim started the Capitol Hill Jum'ah prayers, where Muslim Americans, including Capitol Hill staffers, pray every Friday. After his public service on the Hill, Asim started a private practice defending civil rights. For the last 2 decades, Asim has championed human rights and civil liberties of many Muslim charities and organizations across the country. UAE authorities arrested Virginia resident Asim while he was transitioning through Dubai to a family wedding in Istanbul, Turkey. First claiming he required special COVID testing, then arresting him and transporting him to Abu Dhabi, where just days later, Asim, in fact, contracted COVID, for which Emirati authorities have now subjected Asim to total isolation, refusing him any kind of contact with his family, legal representation, or the consulate. All of this is based on a prosecution and conviction in absentia for money laundering and tax evasion. This secret conviction sentenced Asim to 3 years in prison and fine of 3 million dirhams. UAE officials have repeatedly claimed that their arrest of Asim was conducted in coordination with the United States government in order to combat transactional crimes. The U.S. Department of State, in a July 18 statement, has in fact denied any such cooperation, saying the United States had not sought Asim's arrest. UAE officials, purportedly U.S. allies, have nonetheless persisted in their claim that they acted in concert with the U.S. government in arresting Asim. As U.S. Senators Mark Warner and Tim Kaine, along with U.S. Representatives Jennifer Wexton, Don Bayer, and Jerry Conley, have all noted in their July 22 letter to President Biden, the UAE's continued insistence on U.S. cooperation in Asim's arrest raises extraordinary concerns about the oversight of U.S. involvement in this partnership. They rightly state as well that how critical is it that the Biden administration makes clearly that the hasty detention of U.S. citizens like Asim cannot become normalized as an appropriate tactic of U.S. partners. We support and appreciate these elected U.S. officials' call for Asim's regular access to his attorneys and family, unfettered U.S. embassy contact, and verified humane treatment. USCMO, as one of 57 Muslim American institutions and organizations and hundreds of thousands of American Muslims, adds to these two urgent calls. Number one, we demand Asim's immediate and unconditional release from the UAE. Number two, we request an urgent meeting with Attorney General Merrick Garland to clarify, among other things, if, in fact, the U.S. Department of Justice was informed by the UAE of the case against Asim in 2020? And how many other cases does the UAE have against other Americans that were tried in absentia? Asim is a civil rights lawyer who's defended the rights of others throughout his entire profession. If he were not imprisoned, he would have been asking how many other Americans have been tried in absentia. And today, we stand here and ask that question. Our solemn prayers are with the Asim Ghafoor and other Americans held around the world for their health, release, and vindication. And we pray for their safe return to our country. We ask for the prayers of all of you in this trial for Asim and his loved ones as well. Thank you. Now I would like to have Brother Nihad Awad from CARE to speak.
Thank you, Osama. We at CARE support the statement by USCMO, which represents all members of the coalition, on calling for a meeting with the Attorney General of the United States to clarify what are they doing to help release Mr. Asim Ghafoor. Mr. Asim Ghafoor, as has been noted earlier, he was the personal attorney of the late Jamal Khashoggi, and also he was one of the very few people who helped Jamal Khashoggi found DAWN, Democracy for the Arab World Now, which is the organization that was created after the murder of Jamal Khashoggi. We believe that Asim's activities, visibility, and steadfastness in the defense of civil rights of American Muslims, and also standing up for the rights of people in the Middle East by questioning the authoritarian regimes, including the UAE, could be one of those reasons why Asim Ghafoor is in jail and he was detained while transitioning from Dubai to Istanbul. No American should feel unsafe by traveling from one country to another. No American or no human being should be accused, tried, convicted, and sentenced in absentia and without due process. We ask our government to stand for American citizens in detention abroad, especially with countries who are considered allies to the United States. We call on the Biden administration to stand up for American citizens who are detained unjustly and in secrecy abroad. Asim Ghafoor deserves the support that President Biden mentioned while he was signing the executive order to stand by and protect Americans who were detained abroad. Thank you.
Now we ask Naeem Bey to speak.
Thank you, Sama. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I begin in the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful. Islamic Circle of North America stands by the statement of USCMO, and we are requesting the administration that to protect the rights of Asim Ghafoor. Asim Ghafoor is not only a civil rights attorney, he is also a friend of many, many Muslims. He has worked with many Muslim organizations who are representing here today for the striving of civil rights and individual freedoms. Today, what is happening to Asim Ghafoor can happen to any American citizen. So it gives a message to the American citizens and especially to the Muslim community to when you're traveling abroad, your rights are not protected. And this is a message that is very abhorring, and this is a message that can cause much difficulty for Muslims. And that's why we are requesting the administration to take a stand and make sure that Asim Ghafoor is released from the UAE safely and in good health, and he's back with his family, and that is all what we are asking for here today. Thank you.
Okay, now I would like to ask Dr. Zahid Bukhari, the Council of Social Justice.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. My name is Zahid Bukhari. I'm the Executive Director of ICNA, Council for Social Justice. So we endorse the statement by USCMO, United States Council for Muslim Organization. And Asim Ghafoor is not only, as Brother Naeem Beg was saying, he's the attorney for Muslim organization, several of them. For ICNA CSJ, especially, he has a very close connection, our registration, our any issue, whenever it comes in. So Asim was always one phone call away, and he was helping us. So it is very ironic that as the moment President Biden was signing that executive order that the Americans should not be arrested, and Asim Ghafoor was arrested. So we are asking President Biden, this is the time not only issuing the executive order, but standing by with that your executive order and bring back Asim Ghafoor here. And that is our demand, and all other demands which are asking for the USCMO is doing, we are fully endorsing that. Thank you very much.
Any questions? We will be glad to answer. By the way, I just received a couple of minutes ago that today Mr. Asim Ghafoor has met with his attorney, the local attorney in UAE, for about 4 or 5 minutes. And that's it. And unfortunately still could not meet or speak to his family. We continue to be concerned. We continue to push our government to make sure that Mr. Asim Ghafoor receives full attention and be able to meet with his attorneys at length to verify his health condition. It is still of concern, but at least for today, just a few minutes ago, he met with his local attorney in UAE and for about 4 or 5 minutes. And we will update the public on any development on his case.